저희 성별 정체성을 떠나 제가 이 나라를 지키는 훌륭한 군인 중 하나가 될 수 있다는 것을 모두에게 보여주고 싶습니다.
Dude's crying at a press conference. Just imagine him on the front lines. Now, I just want to let you know that the Korea Herald is already changing Byun's pronouns to she. The debate in the West is that you should use a person's preferred pronouns out of respect. But respect is earned and not assumed. So I don't really know Byun, so I will treat him just like he looks, which is a metrosexual Korean dude with XY chromosomes who happened to have chopped his dick off. He was discharged for 음경훼손 and 고환적출, so basically physical disability, which was criticized by the Center for Military Human Rights in Korea since his disability didn't affect his job, which was driving a tank. The military also added a clause to their laws after this discharge, stating that in any similar cases to this, there will be a specific investigation to determine the person's utility and potential to cure whatever disabilities they have instead of just discharging them. Obama first unbanned transgenders from the military in 2016. However, he also said that the military, which is to say tax dollars, would pay for any sex change operations of active duty members, including behavior therapy, hormone therapy, and gender reassignment surgery. He gave the military 12 months to prepare new implementation guidelines, such as, showering next to women who have balls, I guess. Naturally, like virtually all of Obama's actions, Trump moved to cancel it in 2017, but it took until 2019 for the courts to affirm the re-banning of transgenders in the military, except under certain limited circumstances, which seem to be defined on a case-by-case basis. Yet, transgenders who joined the military before 2018 seem to be exempt from this policy. Of course, there were criticisms that the science on transgenderism has been distorted for a political agenda. And of course, these claims were not supported with anything but emotional arguments. It is said that anyone who is fit to serve should be allowed to serve. I agree. Define fit to serve. So what does a soldier need when faced with war? Well, you need to not have a mental breakdown while being shot at from all directions, while seeing people you trained with die, while your mission appears to be futile, all these things. You need to be able to carry other soldiers who are wounded so they aren't left to die. Not to mention the entire squad you train with has to be 100% reassured that you and no one else in their squad will not fail to do their duty. If you have attention disorders, learning disorders, mood disorders, behavioral disorders, speech disorders, or any history of self-harm, you cannot serve in the military. If you are flat-footed, you can't serve in the military. There are a ton of restrictions, which is why about 70% of U.S. youth can't serve. Being a homosexual doesn't seem to affect any of those, so they're allowed to serve. Being trans is not even remotely comparable. Trans veterans commit suicide, reportedly, at twice the rate as their normal veteran peers, nearly 6 times the rate of the general population. Outside the military, around 41% of trans people attempt suicide, which is compared to 4% of the general population. Furthermore, whether or not they receive sex reassignment surgery seems to have no bearing on their suicide rate. The argument is that they are being discriminated against in society, which causes this high suicide rate. But the problem is, they also say blacks and Hispanics are highly discriminated against, yet they have far lower suicide rates than Asians and whites. So on the contrary, I would posit that the spastic encouragement of trans people is hurting them. A perfect example is when this man pretended he was a transgender to get a pregnancy test, and he used a pregnant woman's urine to get the positive result. But the problem is, if a man has this hormone level, it's a sign of testicular cancer. Yeah, the doctor just said, congratulations! Netflix currently has 3 shows encouraging transgenderism for children. A Democrat debate featured people supporting a man's right to an abortion. And more parents are giving hormone blockers to their babies. So I guess kids can't decide what time they go to bed, but they can decide to change their sex. And this is despite death and suicide being linked to this drugs, and despite upwards of 90% of kids growing out of their trans phase. Some courts are taking children away from parents if they don't give them hormone blockers. Do not become this, please, Korea. Now, we have a whole generation of kids like this in the West, and I cannot imagine how mentally unstable they will become. With extremely high suicide rates, the people flipping out over their pronouns.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
And the trainees in prison raping people. It's not a surprise that only 12% of soldiers support trans in the military. And again, it's not just about the individual. What if you suddenly get an infection in the gaping wound where your dick used to be and can't perform your duty for everyone else? What if someone accidentally calls you a different pronoun? What if some of your supply of hormone drugs runs out? There are a ton of extra triggers for these people that don't need to exist in the military. Hell, you can assume a trans soldier is not in the field and is remotely gathering data somewhere far away to transmit to the generals leading troops in the field. That's just a stressful situation because their success and survival may depend on the information you gather to be accurate and clear. What's more important then? the society will feel virtuous and your tax money goes towards cutting off dicks, or that trans people stay home and your soldiers stay strong.